So this is exactly how a professional footballer should eat if he wants elite athletic performance, if he wants to have elite cognitive ability, if he wants to have healthy skin, healthy tissue, healthy eyes, look healthy, be healthy, and feel healthy. Now, this video could be hours long if we talked about all the specific reasons of why we don't eat certain foods. I'm gonna focus on what we are eating, and then during that, I might drop here and there, okay, we're not eating that because of that. Let's get this started, guys. Very first thing, we'll go with raw honey. So I have a few jars of raw local honey. It's unheated in glass. If honey is not in glass, it's probably pretty garbage quality. Honey lasts forever. It doesn't need any preservatives. Honey is basically like what I call nature's nectar. It's very healing, and it's not full of sugar like the mainstream tries to tell you. Raw honey is mostly enzymes. When they heat the honey, that's when the enzymes convert into sugar and it becomes not so healthy. So you'll notice some of the recipes and the food combinations that we do include small amounts of raw honey because the enzymes help you digest the food. Very important, try and buy raw honey in the summer. It'll last, more or less forever. So you'll have stuff in the winter when maybe there's not as much for sale. But in glass, unheated. In the West, like in America, people lie on their marketing and their packaging, so you really do have to talk to the bee farmer and question them, because they will lie. Because there are some laws in America where they can call the honey raw, but still heat it to a certain temperature. So you want unheated raw honey. Next, some like olive oil is always good to have, natural, like obviously. Make sure that the olive oil you're buying is actually 100% olive oil. Nowadays, if you go to the big box stores and try and get bulk olive oil, for example, it'll be mixed with almond or sunflower, or even worse, canola oil. So get at least 100%, ideally extra virgin cold pressed, which means it's not heated. Again, the olive oil is also very sensitive to change in temperature. The most optimal kind of procedure to extract the oil from the olives is called stone pressed. A bit hard to find these days, but cold pressed is pretty much good enough. And ideally organic. No chemicals, no GMO on the olives themselves, no like pesticides being sprayed on the olive trees. A few other kind of like staples that you can have is just have some coconut oil, again, organic, ideally raw, virgin, cold pressed, not heated. Coconut oil, I don't use a lot, but it's good to have in the kitchen. It's kind of one of these like staples just to have available. It lasts forever, not in the fridge. It's pretty easy to maintain. Get it in glass also. All in glass, very important, not in plastic. All right, now getting on to some more of the actual food. We have some raw, fresh, unrefrigerated, unwashed. Unwashed means they use chemicals to clean the eggs, which actually kills a layer of enzymes on the outside of the shell that helps it stay fresh for multiple weeks outside the fridge. These I got from a local farmer here. The chickens just run out, on the grass and the rocks, and they eat bugs, and they're fed a little, things here and there, but they just eat off the land, which is what you want. Chickens are omnivores, so they can eat grains. Of course, they can eat soy and corn and all that stuff, which you don't want. You don't want eggs from chickens that are being fed corn and soy. You're absorbing all of those estrogens. Because basically, like chickens are not meant to eat corn, like to eat grains, because grains have to be cultivated in modern agriculture. Like back in the day, it'd be impossible for chickens to eat, soy and corn. I have these raw. You do what's best for you, but I recommend to have eggs raw. If you're not ready for that, you can kind of do eggs over easy, which basically is where you keep the yolk very, very soft and you cook the egg whites very minimally. And that's an easy way to get started into having raw eggs. When you cook the fat in the egg yolk, it really does transform the nutrient availability of all the really good stuff in the egg yolk in the raw fat. Raw fat is the most important thing in our world to help us heal from all of the toxins that go into our body, injections, things in the air, smog, and of course all the nonsense that is in processed packaged food. Next we have some lemons. I always have lemons so I can make this formula called the lubrication formula. Lemons, eggs, and honey, you mix it together. Also can add butter. That's a great thing for optimal hydration and to get you off of water. Now getting in, and of course also the lemons, the eggs, everything that we're talking about should be organic. Like that goes without saying. But depending on what country you're in, organic itself, that term can mean many things. In America, now it really does not have much value anymore because the entities that certify farms as organic are owned by Nestle and Pepsi and these huge companies. So it's like it's not valid. It just shows that it's been captured by the bad guy. It's not really, it doesn't mean much. You want to actually talk to the farmer, talk to the people that are growing the animals that you're going to eat from. It's pretty important. All right, so in the fridge, we have some raw unsalted butter. Very important that the milk that this is made from is raw, unheated. Butter has many different uses that we use in different formulas with the eggs, with the meat. Those are the two main things, but the butter is basically, like besides the fat from meat, the butter is the best source of raw fat for your body to lubricate all your joints, have healthy skin, and also if you didn't know, raw fat is one of the most important things for hormones, and your brain is actually made out of fat, so very important. Have some raw bee pollen, always good to kind of like supplement. Like bee pollen is kind of the only thing, or there's a few things that I would factor in as actual supplements because they supplement what you're eating. I don't eat bee pollen as a meal, so I call it a supplement. Same thing with the olive oil and the coconut oil. I call it, like for me, it supplements what I'm eating, which is meat or eggs or raw milk or something like that. Okay, then we have some fresh, raw, unsalted cheese made from a local farmer here. It's actually pretty hard to get nowadays because for some reason cheesemakers want to tell you that you have to use salt to make cheese, which is not true. Really, it's because they're lazy and because they use the salt to age the cheese over many, many months, which is a whole other industry that I'm not interested in. I'm more interested in health, not like in the wine connoisseur with the fine cheeses and all that garbage. Raw unsalted cheese is, you can't really digest this on its own because it's not really digestible because there's no enzymes to help you digest this, like this cheese in its form, but you can combine it with the raw honey with the enzymes that helps you digest all the great minerals in the cheese. Now those two different situations have different purposes that we use in different situations for our clients. Putting that back. Okay, so the cool thing here in Lebanon is I have a really good source of grass-fed, fresh sheep meat that's also halal and it's organic. Like in America, in my life, I never found it possible to get sheep meat, to get goat meat, to get these other kind of cuts of meat. Here they're more widely available and much cheaper and better quality. This meat tastes amazing. Obviously, this is ground meat. There are a few steaks that we have vacuum sealed. Like, of course, it's plastic. It's not ideal, but because it's vacuum sealed, it'll last up to 5-6 days in the fridge, which is more convenient than paper wrapped, which only lasts for 1-2-3 days max. And also, some of those papers that the butchers use on the raw meat do have some plastic chemical in it, which is also not great. So I would argue the plastic is a bit healthier than the chemical on the paper wrap. The main problem with plastic is when you have water, because water is a solvent. So it leaches microplastics from the plastic bottle, and then you drink the water with the microplastics. In this, there's no water to leach the plastic from the plastic wrap. So it's not ideal, but it's not as bad as some might say. And then that's about it in the fridge. Oh yeah, so I don't have any raw milk right now. I finished it yesterday, but normally I go to this farm down the village and fill up fresh with raw milk from the cow. It goes in. The milk's warm. It's warm, and then I don't even put it in the fridge. I leave it outside, and because it's like the winter here, it actually gets a bit colder Not as cold as the fridge, of course, but a bit colder, and it lasts outside the fridge before even the process of a separation comes into play. It lasts for like a few days outside the fridge because of the climate here in the winter. So that's basically everything. Like, I have some naturally sparkling water in glass from the local region. Here in Lebanon, they're very blessed with tons of high quality water because there's so many mountain springs and really amazing environment here. Now for you guys, the question is, okay, how do you combine all this stuff? How do you eat all this stuff? Just to put it into perspective, let's say in the morning I might wake up, I might have a small amount of raw meat and then have some raw eggs with the lemon juice and the honey, and then go work out, come back, maybe have some raw milk after the workout. In the afternoon, have a bigger meal with meat and some kind of combination of raw eggs and lemon juice and honey. Also, I do like to have olive oil and lemon juice with raw meat. It's a good combination, but that's kind of like of a very, very surface level explanation of how I eat and how a professional footballer can eat very easily. Like, all this stuff, like, okay, maybe at first it's a little bit inconvenient to find the right source, but once you have it, it's very easy. Raw meat, I don't have to cook anything. I just put it on the cutting board, cut it, or if it's ground beef, it's already like ready to go. The lemons, obviously cut it in half and open it up, and their seeds, get them out, squeeze the juice out. Everything else is very easy. And like, all of this stuff, guys, is natural. It's off the land. There's no factory involved in this. There's no chemical additives or some kind of man-made intervention to make it possible in this region. Everything is local. If you live in England, you shouldn't be eating bananas that are from Africa. That does not compute. It does not work. The human body will think you're stupid for doing that, and it'll treat you as so. And then you'll have issues down the line, either physically, emotionally, or mentally. So, put simply, like, your best route to have optimal performance, optimal health, optimal longevity, good sleep, is to eat naturally. All this stuff, nothing man-made science can reproduce. On the back of a protein bottle with the powders, it might say 40 grams of protein, but I'm just telling you, there's no science that proves that those 40 grams actually translates into 40 grams of protein here or here. It's just marketing. I'm just telling you, it's just marketing. It's just made up nonsense to make you think that you're doing something, because they can say on the packaging, oh, we got all this protein in here, but you didn't think, does any of it actually go into my body? How do you think a dried protein powder converts into muscle? Did you? No, I didn't think so. Same with the eggs. If you fry the eggs, you've literally killed all the nutrients by just the process of heating away the bacteria and the enzymes. And one topic that comes to mind about raw milk is, of course, everyone says, oh, it's dangerous and all this stuff, but you do know it's more dangerous to eat pasteurized milk. Much more dangerous to have pasteurized dairy, because it can go bad, actually go bad. Raw milk that's unheated, that's fresh, does not go bad. It separates into the whey, which is the liquid that they make protein powder from usually, and the curd. The curd becomes cheese eventually. Now, raw milk does that on its own naturally. Pasteurized dairy, because you've killed the bacteria and the enzymes, it actually goes bad. It goes rotten. And if you drink anything like that, then you're really asking for trouble. And on the topic of lactose intolerance, that is usually caused, 100% caused, by overconsumption of pasteurized dairy in childhood. Over 90% of people that have lactose intolerance is because of that. Very few people that I found in my line of work that I've helped with this, like every single person I've worked with, I've been able to fix that for them. Because it's very simple. When you heat the milk, you kill the bacteria and the enzymes that help you digest the protein. You're intolerant to lactose, and lactose is the protein in the milk. You're intolerant because you can't digest it, because you don't have the bacteria and enzymes to digest it. It's not very complicated. You had a bunch of proteins go into your body, you killed the bacteria to help you digest it. Now your body has all this lactose, and it's like, what? It's like, I have no idea what I'm doing with this. It becomes a toxin because it's basically junk in your body. So you keep having it, then you get an intolerance because your body is telling you to stop having it. The body works in mysterious ways, but also works in very simplistic ways at the same time. That's the beauty of the human body, and that's the beauty of nature. So all this stuff is great. Eat off the land, eat simply. Vegetables, nuts, legumes, salads, what else? All this stuff that you've been told is healthy is not. I know that might be crazy to think, but it's literally just because that stuff is very cheap to manufacture, and then they can market it to you as healthy and charge a very high price for it and have a very healthy margin, a very healthy profit margin. So always track the money when it comes to, well, anything really. But eat simply. Like this raw milk, 3 liters of raw milk costs $5. The cow keeps producing raw milk for its lifespan. If you just put it out in nature and make sure that the nature that you're in is actually, is a healthy environment, there'll be plenty of grass for the cow to eat. So, long story short, if you're a pro footballer watching this, build connections in your community. Find the farmer for the meat, for the eggs, for the milk. Strengthen your bonds with him. He'll probably give you a deal on the food. Once a week, go pick it up for your house, and you're good. It's really that simple. You don't need to, I know it's very convenient to go to a big store, but I'm just telling you, there's nothing in there. Like maybe some water and glass, that's great. But you're doing yourself a very big disservice if you're not nourishing your body with alive food. That means raw fat, raw proteins, and some starch. Like I didn't cover it here, but some white rice is good. Some complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes are good the night before a match. But for the most part, you really don't need to eat that much of grain and starch. It's really kind of an extra piece when you feel you need some simple sugars to recover or to, kind of restore the liver glycogen the evening before a match. So this is how a pro footballer should eat. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, drop it down below in the comments and I'll answer this as best I can or make a video on the topic if it warrants it. Otherwise, if you are a pro footballer and you're looking to break through your ceiling that you're stuck at, send me an email at taylor@footballentangled.com. Otherwise, guys, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed this value-heavy video. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.